Hello, I'm Connor Loy, and today I'm going to be doing my first podcast on state and local government. For the first thing, I have Virginia fun facts. Number 1, its nickname. It is the mother of states. Number 2, the Virginia bird is the cardinal, as you may already know. Number 3, the capital is Richmond. Number 4, the state tree is flowering dogwood. Number 5, it is the state pet is the American foxhound. So now I have tourism. What I had to do, I had to create a list of top 5 places outside of where I live, which is WJCC. And yeah, here are the rest of them. It's the Shenandoah National Park, which is up in the Appalachian Mountains, along with the Appalachian Trail, which is a very long trail going across the entire hillside. The Arlington National Cemetery, located in Washington, D.C. King's Dominion, which is a place like Busch Gardens, but it is not in WJCC. And we have Thomas Jefferson's Plantation, which is, of course, Monticello, and it actually has it has a burial of Thomas Jefferson there. You can see his grave, which is pretty cool. When I went there, I liked it a lot. Okay. For the governor hats, one of his hats. So let me list the hats. The chief of state, chief legislator, chief executive, chief of party, commander in chief, and chief citizen. For chief of state, I had to create an original example for each. And the example for chief of state is the governor gives an award to a retired Vietnam veteran. For chief legislator, the governor passes a traffic law on speeding. For chief executive, the governor appoints the next lieutenant governor of Virginia. Chief of party, since the new governor was elected, he is now the leader of the Crew Party, which is another project I had to do for this class. The commander-in-chief, the governor deploys National Guard on a serious state crime, and chief of state or commander-in-chief is the same thing as the commander-in-chief for the president, but the commander-in-chief for the state is for the state, which is like the National Guard, as I said in the original example. And for the chief citizen, my example is the governor attends a high school graduation in Richmond. So like, what that one really means is that he goes into the city area and he helps out the community and just is there. The next one is the structure of state government in Virginia. The branches, of course, you may and most likely should already know, are the executive branch, legislative branch, and the judicial branch. For Virginia, however, the executive branch is governor, as it always is, and its powers are it carries out laws for the state. Hopefully not for the president or like in the federal, but it probably shouldn't happen. And for the legislative branch, it is the General Assembly, which is the Congress of the state, and they make the laws. And the judicial branch for Virginia is the Virginia Supreme Court, which is lower than the U.S. Supreme Court, but it's the highest court in Virginia. And to become a law in Virginia, you have to a citizen of Virginia has to think of an idea, and that can be anyone in Virginia. It is introduced to the General Assembly by either the Senate or the House of Delegates. It doesn't matter which one. And it goes through the committee, it's debated, and it gets voted on in each house. So like it gets introduced to the Senate, it goes to the House right afterwards. So in the Senate, it's introduced to the Senate, it goes through the 3 steps, the committee, the debate, and vote, and then it gets approved there, and then it gets sent to the House of Delegates, or the vice versa to the Senate, and it goes through the same 3 steps. And then it gets sent to the governor, where it either gets signed or vetoed. And then Congress is able to redo it, and they have to get it's not Congress, sorry, General Assembly, and it's it needs to get approved by the governor, and if it doesn't, it goes back to the General Assembly, and both parties or both sides of the House can either just try and get it across again by trying to get a 2/3 vote, and if it doesn't become a law, but if it does, it automatically becomes a law. Okay, this is legislation. So what I had to do, I had to list and describe 6 legislative topics that come before the General Assembly each year. And that is education, public health, environment, state budgets, levying and collecting taxes, and transportation. For education, it really means that it needs to improve public schools, colleges, and universities. For public health, it has to funding for medical programs across the state. For the environment, they protect natural resources like the Chesapeake Bay, or like any lake in Virginia, or like any body of water in Virginia, or anywhere in Virginia that involves the environment, probably like the Appalachian Trail. For the state budget, it is improving the state's biennial budget. Sorry, I just can't pronounce it right now. And then for levying and collecting taxes, it collecting money and necessary to provide state services like the police department and getting food for us and all that stuff that we need. And for transportation, it needs improvements to the state highway system, which actually is occurring right now where I live, because there is a huge road going from Richmond down to Newport News, I think. I may have to look that up maybe during this. But anyway, it's been going on for years around, probably 2 or 3. Let me look it up a sec. How long is the road going to take from Richmond to Newport News? Okay, I think I found it. Yeah, so there's a huge road coming in. It's been going on for years now, probably. But anyway, let me continue on. They have to improve the state highways, so like getting more police department or police people if they need an emergency or something. Doesn't matter. It just needs to help out through the thing. Yeah. And so the next thing is localities in Virginia. And localities means city, town, or county. So what I had to do, I had to identify the 3 different types of localities and who is part of each branch. So for the legislative branch, for counties, they are all 3 for counties, towns, and cities are elected. For the counties, though, they have board of supervisors. For towns, they have the town council, and for cities, they have city council. And also, all 3 also enact ordinances, which ordinances are local laws, and they adopt the annual budget. But on the other hand, cities hire a manager. I cannot read my own handwriting; it is so tiny. Hire a manager daily. That's what I can read. For the executive branch, they're the chairman of board of supervisors. They everyone get all 3 from towns or cities, town, and counties for the executive branch are elected by voters or the city/town council. For counties, as I said before, it is a chairman of board of supervisors. For towns, it is mayor, and the cities, it is mayor. And for the judicial branch, for cities, towns, and counties, it is they all 3 have district courts, circuit courts, juvenile and / domestic relation courts, and small claim courts. Which isn't that bad. I like them. They're pretty good. Okay, we're now coming on to the last page of my broadcast / podcast and of my sheet that I'm using to read all this stuff off. So what I had to do for this one, I had to include who oversees the K-12 public education, where I live at least, which is WJCC, the 5 positions that must be elected according to the Virginia Constitution, and who currently holds them. For education, we have the school board. So we have the treasurer, the clerk of the circuit court, commissioner of the revenue, Commonwealth's attorney, and the sheriff. The person in office for the treasurer is Jennifer Tomes. The clerk of the circuit court is Mona Foley. The commissioner of revenue is Richard Bradshaw. The Commonwealth's attorney is Nate Green, and the sheriff is Robert J. Deeds. You can probably check that out if on their website, which is www.wjccschools.org. Okay, this is the last one. It is local tourism, which is like tourism where I live, which is WJCC, as I said multiple times throughout this video / podcast. So, what we have Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, the original Jamestown, the first permanent settlement in the New World, Busch Gardens, Yorktown, which is the surrendering of the Revolutionary War in the last battle where we won our independence, and Jamestown Beach, which doesn't sound as cool, but it's actually really nice. It's kind of dirty, but it's right off Jamestown. I also have a couple more that I like to do. We go strawberry picking every year on what is it, Easter, I think? Yeah, it's Easter. Or no, Mother's Day. We go over to the strawberry patch that we like to go to, and we pick strawberries every year, and we have ice cream, and it's good. Anyway, for Colonial Williamsburg, I have to describe a little bit more about it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But for Colonial Williamsburg, it's really nice, actually. We have, as one of my band directors once said, we have the most haunted living school on the East Coast in Colonial Williamsburg, and that is Matthew Whaley. The oldest or the most haunted one is inactive, but ours is active, and it's most haunted. Continuing, Colonial Williamsburg has a lot of horses. It's more like it's old. You can see like the place where Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and like in the church. But you can walk around. There's a run every year, called the Run the Dog. Dog Street is Duke of Gloucester Street, and you can just run around the entire Colonial Williamsburg almost, and it's a 5K. It's really fun. I've done it before. It is very fun. For Jamestown, you can see the original island, or they actually recreated everything. So they have like the long houses and like a recreation of the boats that brought the English over to us. It's really nice. You can see like a village that the Indians would have had there. It's really nice, but the actual island is on like an island because it's Jamestown Island. But anyway, it's really old. It's founded in 1607. I've never been, but I'm trying to go soon. It'll be really fun. So yeah, for Busch Gardens, it's an amusement park like King's Dominion, but it's really local. I'm not sure how many there are in the country. Let me look it up really quickly. How many Busch Gardens are in the U.S.? Oh, so that is located in... Oh, wait. Never mind. Come on. Yeah, also Water Country is part of Busch Gardens, which is nice. I can't find it. Well, I'd say I know two of them, and that's Busch Gardens Tampa Bay and Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I've never been to the Tampa one, but it seems cool. I'll probably go down and revisit anytime soon. Anyway, for Yorktown, they just recently built a new museum for it. It's probably been a year now since they built it, maybe 2. But it was actually really nice. They had this whole section, this new section, and you can see, like, me and my dad once went out for a project back maybe 4th grade, and we saw, like, the actual, like, place where the Americans were rushing down the British, like the exact place where they surrendered, I think it was. There are a lot of trees now there though, but you can see like all the hills and stuff and like where they fought. And it was very, very cool. I suggest you go to it. It is amazing. And the last one is Jamestown Beach. So it's right off of Jamestown. If you keep going straight down where Jamestown is, you'll see Jamestown Beach. You can park there. You can go there as a family. Go in the water. There's like these off sites that you can go to. But it may not be the place to go. But Jamestown Beach is really cool. I like it. I haven't been there very often, but a lot of people where we live go there just to have fun. So yeah, that is the end of my packet, and unfortunately the end of this podcast. I just want to say thank you all so much for staying tuned to this podcast and allowing me to do this. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.